is in your hands. My life is in your hands. You took control when I was young, when I was not able. My life is in your hands. My life is in your hands. You took control when I was young, when I was not able.
Hi, welcome to my show called Inspired Blessings with Jean-Marie Prince, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to thank my guest today, Annemarie Davin.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. And you're the founder and owner of Fame Hampton.
That's correct.
And we'll learn more about what that is later. And you also had a near-death experience, and I thought that'd be good to share with others. So this way, I think through testimony, sometimes it opens the eyes of people whether or not there, is a God out there, or whether or not there really is an afterlife and things like that.
Absolutely.
So tell me what happened when you were at the age of 4.
Well, when I was 4 years old, I was a very curious kid, and we were driving in the car, and back then nobody wore seatbelts because it was like 1969. Not to age myself, but
right.
And so I kept playing with it, and it wasn't giving way, and I thought, oh great, but then finally it gave way. I fell out of the car. I don't know how I didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do know how I didn't die. It was God,
Right.
But there's a big RV, behind me that was, pretty much you just heard the brakes screeching, and I don't know the next thing, because I couldn't get up. I tried to get up, and my elbows and my knees gave out.
Right.
And I just started rolling to the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was me. I don't know, 4 years old,
right.
How you know how to do that. But, I remember very vividly looking back, and I will never forget an RV coming at you on the road,
mm-hmm.
and thinking you're going to die, and then you're rolling. So I don't know, I'm thinking, was it angels or something pushing me to the side? I don't know, but...
Wow. Now also, when you were younger, you used to tell me that how you used to talk to your mom about what was going to happen, and how you were, so if you could explain kind of.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know how I knew this. It was like an innate knowing,
mm-hmm.
that you have to remember, this is 1969, Vietnam War is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that on the news. I remember them showing, Woodstock on the news. There were a lot of things,
mm-hmm.
and I just remember thinking, and all, they had all the signs, against the war, and how we should all get along and all that. And even though I didn't know exactly what was happening, I just knew that as people we should just love each other, and stuff like that. And so I would often say to my parents, watching TV and things like that, like, why don't people just love each other? Why can't we just, And then in those conversations, things would come up. I'd say, well, they better start, because, I will be here when Christ returns, and, my parents are looking at me like, how do you know that,
Right.
And I, with conviction, I would say that, and I still say that today. I'm 50 years old this year, and I will be here when he comes back.
I mean, because at that age, did you even have, you went to church, but I guess you went to church, but how much really did you absorb at that point? You know
right,
what
that's what I'm saying. We
yeah.
did. I was raised Roman Catholic, and I did go to church and stuff like that, and it was great. But I don't know how How do you know at that age?
Well, you know what? Being that this is 2015, a lot of things going on in the world, so it's a very good possibility that you will be around when Jesus comes back.
Yeah, and I said that when I was little, so,
mm-hmm.
and I just know it. I still know it, and people might think I'm crazy, and I really don't care. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, did you go to church on a normal basis, and
mm-hmm.
how far did you go with your religion, you would say at the time?
Yeah. Well. My parents sent us to, as kids to private school, Catholic school and stuff, and this was in California.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Flushing, raised in California. So, and they had like the school was here and the church was across the street. So every Friday, the whole school went, grades 1 to 8. You went for 9 o'clock mass, and then Sundays you went with your family. So it was a very, very big part of my life. And even at one time, when I was like 10 or something,
mm-hmm.
Actually was studying the Bible, as I was
right.
calling it, because
right.
I thought I was going to be a nun.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
my mom was like, okay. And then, fifth grade happened, and we had a new boy in class, and that went out the window.
You know what? We can go to religious school, as you can say, and things like that. But at that, would you say that you really believed in God or knew that God existed? What would you say?
I always knew God existed,
Okay.
like since birth, I guess I'll say, and I always had a very close relationship with Him.
Okay.
Which I have to lend. I lend it to going to school because you're around all the time. You said prayer. You started the day off in prayer and things like that. But I sought out on my own more than what was taught in school. More so because of my parents, I guess you could say.
You ended up living on the West Coast.
Right.
And at that time, when did you meet a possible person that you had thought that you were going to marry?
Oh, when I was 18, I had met somebody, and I didn't even know that I wanted to date him. But we did, and then 2 years later, we moved in together and things like that. And 2 years after that, well, 2 years after that, we were together 4 years and stuff. I was engaged and everything, and but if you ever saw the movie Sleeping with the Enemy, like that's what he turned into, very obsessive, possessive, things like that. And then it became like a domestic violence situation. A lot of verbal. Before I left, it was more where we get a little bit of the physical, and I had to get out.
Right.
But it's very hard when you don't know how to get out, and I'm like 22 trying to figure out, how do I get out of this?
Right.
And you can't tell anybody because, you feel very embarrassed that it's your fault.
Right. Right.
And
well, I understand though. There was something that he did to you that made you realize I got to get out of this relationship. What did he do?
Yes. One time we were arguing, and I know we were arguing about, and it came to a point where he literally, pulled out a gun, that he thought I didn't know he had. I had found it, and I had made sure it was on safety because I thought, God forbid, if we got into an argument and he pulled it out, and he did, But during the argument, he had it. Literally touching my head, my forehead, and and he says, I ought to just kill you right now, And I will admit this now. I wouldn't back then.
Right.
The relationship was so bad, I could have cared less if I died.
Okay.
That would have been better than being in that relationship.
Right.
And I thought, what's the worst thing? I go meet my maker?
Yeah, I was going to say, what was your faith, or what were you, did you feel this was a trial that God was putting you through, or what did you think? Did you...
The only thing I remember thinking was, I wasn't afraid because as soon as he said, I should just kill you, and I said, what would you get out of it? That's what I asked him. And he said, a bed and 3 squares a day. That's what he said. And there was this very overwhelming feeling that took over me, that a calmness, that, and God was kind of like telling me, it's not your day. I just knew it wasn't.
Right.
And it was more maybe about him. And so, and then we just sat there staring at each other, not saying anything. And then I guess something in him snapped that he realized what he was doing. And then he pulled the gun away and he just started crying, and he gave it to me and he said, I'm so sorry, I love you, I don't,
Right.
And
How did it happen?
I was working at the radio station at WBLI over on Route 112 in Medford, and I was on the way to go to a client literally right at the street to get a check, and I didn't want to go out that morning because that morning twice I had come to, like when the light turns green, and I didn't go because I had a feeling and twice cars ran the red light.
Okay.
And just something that morning was like, you're not escaping death today. I don't know why. It was the first time I ever had that feeling. And so I really didn't want to go out in my car. But he says, no, you got to come. I said, can I come this afternoon? Can I come? I really don't want to come.
Right.
So this was 10:15 in the morning on August 15th, I said 1991. Sorry. 1997. 1991 was when my mom passed away.
Okay.
Maybe that's...
No, I think you said
thing.
1997. But
Yeah, it's 1997. Sorry about that. And what happened was I got, I was in a Toyota 4Runner, but I got hit by a Ram truck, so I got a bigger truck, and from behind.
Sure.
And like everything buckled, and the bumper, the back bumper was touching the back seat, like that's how.
Yeah. Wow.
I did have my seatbelt on, which I guess saved me, but what's really weird is the client I went to go see was standing outside, so he saw this whole thing happen. And he said when I got hit that I looked like a rag doll being tossed around.
Sure.
And he goes, "You looked dead." That's what he said, you know. And later on, when I had shared with him what happened, because I was dead, that's why. What happened was I remember hearing a hit. I remember hearing glass. I remember hearing somebody screaming, and that's all I remember.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, everything was black.
Okay.
And then I started having this feeling, you know, like an ascending feeling, and I didn't know what was happening. And then next thing I know, I'm still in this darkness,
Right.
you know, and then all of a sudden it's like a screen, like a movie, you know.
At this point, are you scared? What do you think?
I didn't know what was happening.
Okay.
I had no idea because
Okay.
it was happening like so fast but so slow. I
So
don't-
you didn't come above the accident to see the fact that you were that
I wasn't
this was-
seeing
okay,
anything.
gotcha.
I was just seeing black.
Okay, and,
you know?
and it was movie time.
And it was
Gotcha.
movie time, yeah. So I saw my birth and every second of my life up into that
Okay.
that accident.
And what did you get from that feeling? You know, like sometimes I know that people who've had near-death experience, they would feel remorse for, you know, how they treated people or anything like that. Did you have any kind of feelings like that?
I didn't have time to comprehend because even though my mind could retain every second, and as I'm talking about it, I could still see it. You know.
Sure.
But it was more like a review, and I didn't know. I didn't know yet. Still, what was I'm still like what?
Right.
You
right.
know.
Still trying to understand.
Yeah, and then I thought, what was that?
Right. Right.
You know, like that was my life, and I said to myself, that was my life flashing before me, and that's when I thought, wait, because you hear people say that, right? And so then I realized, wait, what's going on? Because I'm still feeling like this ascending feeling. So then I thought, wait a second, what's now? I'm realizing I'm not seeing, the road, and I'm not like I'm in complete darkness, and there was no bad feelings, or anything. There just wasn't any feeling for a minute,
Okay.
And then I just remember thinking, am I dead?
Let me comprehend this.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
Is this a dream?
Yeah, did I pass out? Am I,
Right.
And then all of a sudden I started thinking about my sisters, my friends, everybody that was important to me. I started thinking, and somehow I knew what was the last thing I said to them. Mm-hmm. And I was remembering that very rapidly, a checklist.
Sure.
And then I said, okay, wait, I don't want this. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, if I'm dying, I don't want this. I'm not ready. Are you kidding me? I have not lived yet.
So you didn't see the light, you didn't feel the love of Jesus. Okay.
Not at this point. No, I was still, I was taking a ride. I was going up in the elevator, I guess. I don't know what they call it. And so I and I said, hello, God, are you there? Jesus, anybody? What's happening here? So like what? And then all of a sudden, and this is the only way I still can't describe this. Then I started feeling this feeling almost like if you were submerged in really warm water. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
But like if you could breathe under the water too. Okay. That calm feeling again. But then all of a sudden it started growing stronger and stronger and stronger, and then all of a sudden I knew exactly what it was. And it was God's love.
Okay.
You're surrounded, you're immersed in it. It's so much greater than we know it to be here.
Okay.
It's very intense, and we can't feel that intensity here on earth, because if we did, I think that our bodies just can't handle it.
Are you feeling light? Are you seeing light while this is happening? Like,
Nope.
at this point you're still...
I'm still in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah, and our bodies would explode like confetti pieces if we felt the power and the intensity of His love for us. And that's when I thought, and you know what? It was a familiar feeling, like I had felt it before. So I don't know if we feel that before we come, or...
A lot of people who have near-death experiences, it's like wow, I'm back home.
I was just going to say.
And also, they say that it is more real than real life on Earth.
Yeah, it was like, all of a sudden, I kind of thought, okay, wait a second.
Do I really want to go back?
Yeah, I thought, okay, there's the Earth, and with its asphalt, and it's just negativity, and people are just so awful, and, you know, nobody loves anybody anymore, and there's selfishness, and there's all this negative stuff. Meanwhile, here I am, and I'm feeling God's love, and I'm feeling everything that's positive, happiness and joy, and every positive emotion you can think of. And it, you know, it was a feeling of like your father wraps his arms around you, and because it is your father, you know, doing
Sure.
that. And so then I thought, oh, you know what?
But I'm surprised, like, you're feeling this feeling, but yet when you're looking, because you still can see.
I'm still in dark.
You're in the dark. You think that darkness would kind of hinder
Well, from
that
what I
feeling.
found out afterwards was that is your way going.
Okay.
You know, so then I just thought this feeling is too good, and I debated, do I want to go, do I not want to go, and then I thought, you know what, that literally those 28 years felt like a trip. When you go on a trip, and because I thought to myself, I said, no, you know what, Father, I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home. You know, I guess I don't really know what my purpose was there. I never knew, but I'm coming home.
But what about when you were, when you were younger, and then you thought to yourself that you were going to be alive when Jesus came back the second time?
Right. I was like, I guess that's out the window, you know. And I thought, okay, I guess. I mean, you know, and so I totally surrendered to the fact I was going home.
Okay.
You know, and I was excited.
Right.
Oh, I was so excited, you
Right.
know. And then I hear my mother's voice. You know, my mom passed away in 1991 and my father in 1982.
Okay.
So they both had gone on, you know. So
Sure.
and then I hear my mother's voice say, no, you can't come. You know, you're not done doing what you're supposed to be doing. And before I could say, wait, what, have a conversation, whatever, I was back in the truck, you know, and 112 goes, you know, just one way.
Right.
He had pushed me onto the other side. So now the truck had hit the curb, and I kind of did this, and I didn't know like where I was, because you know. And then my client that I went to go see opened the door. Are you okay? Are you okay? And then I remember thinking of the movie Ghost when Patrick Swayze was dead, and he didn't know that they couldn't hear him. So I remember grabbing, like, you know, I felt my seatbelt on me, so I thought, okay, so I know I'm in the car now. Okay, ooh, I'm back, you know.
Right.
And I looked at him and I said, can you hear me? And he goes, yes, I can hear you. And I said, oh. And let me tell you something. I was so mad. You know, the ambulance came, they're getting me. I'm not talking to anybody.
Before you go further, I want to know, when you went back into your body, did you feel like, as if they say, it's like you're taking your hand and putting it into a glove when your spirit is going back into your body? Did you feel that feeling?
I don't remember feeling that, but I will tell you this. I do remember when I was not in it, I felt freer than I can ever tell you. But I do remember, I don't remember coming back into it.
Right.
What I do remember is when I was back in, because it just happened so fast. When I was back in it, I was like, oh, God. Back in the suit, I don't want the suit.
Right, right.
I feel enclosed now
sure.
again. And I felt free before, and I said, I don't want this. You know?
Right.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because that's what I hear other people say as well. So anyway, so now you're in the ambulance, and you're mad that you're back.
Oh, I was mad for a good 6 months. Are you kidding me? I was so mad. And I told people, too. I said, you guys have no idea what it's like over there. And I have to tell you,
when was the first time you shared it?
I think the first time that weekend, I told my sisters and my cousin. I didn't.
Did they believe you?
Yeah, because you know why? Because all my life, knowing me saying all that, and even through my life, like, I always used to say, and I still say, like, I'm on a need-to-know basis, and sometimes I would, you know, because talking with God in my relationship and things like that, and just knowing things and stuff like that. So they knew there was something very different about me, so they knew when I spoke it was.
Right. I stopped you short when you said, you know, until this day, like you were mad, and like something you were about to say, and as of this day.
Yeah, as of this day, I can't go to a funeral and be sad for people. I'm sad for the people left behind.
Right, yes.
You know, I am thrilled for the person that's dead. And I can't say that, though, because people will think I'm out of my mind, because I'm thinking, well, do you know where they're going? I mean, if that's where they're going.
Yeah.
How great it is, I mean, they got a 50-50 shot of heaven.
You know what I always say to the people that actually that I know are were Christians and that I feel that they went to heaven, is I say, you know what? They now know the mystery of heaven. They know the mystery of God.
That's it.
So what an awesome venture now that they are on.
Right. And I think more people at funerals, I'm finding they're actually celebrating the person's life, which is what they should be doing.
Sure.
It's like my dad used to say before he passed away, he said, when my day comes, he said, I'll be crying for you guys because you're left here.
See, okay, so he knew where his faith was.
Yes, he did.
Now, how did you get involved with Hope Radio with Pastor Richard Anderson?
I went through this 3-year, what I call my Job period, and, things taken away and things like that, and just things happening, and it, made me so much closer to God instead of, going away from God, which is what the devil really wants you to do. Sorry, no, it doesn't work. So, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And then I got a phone call from a friend of mine telling me about this radio station, and I swore I was never getting back into radio, because after radio I had gone into print. So, and but then I thought, okay, because the night before I had this feeling that, and I hear God telling me, tomorrow you're going to get a phone call. I'm sending somebody to you, and you have to follow them, And then he sends me this friend, which is like the least likely person I would imagine would call me, and then tell me about radio again. I'm like, God, are you kidding? Was that you telling me that last night, or was that somebody else? Because and it took me a good, I think, like 4 to 6 months to decide to even go meet with Pastor Anderson, because I really didn't want anything to do with the radio station. They were doing sports at the time, and but everywhere I was going, I kept seeing the word hope. Really, like it would get bigger and bigger, and I said, okay, God, I got the hint. I'm like, you want me to go see this pastor? I'll go see him, but I'm not working in radio. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'm sorry. And then I went to go meet with him, and then I thought, I'm going to tell the pastor a thing or two about me, and I'm going to tell him the real me. And if he still wants me around, which he probably won't, I had it all figured out. But, it's never our plan, right? It's always God's plan.
Right.
And, you could be a little bit of a defiant child, And I just laid everything out for him. And it's really funny because I didn't realize things I was saying were exactly things he preaches on. I didn't know that. Right. And
well, yeah, when you listen to him on the radio, on Hope Radio, he does get to the point.
He does.
He doesn't go around beat around the bush.
Right, but I didn't know anything about him.
I wish a lot of pastors would do, but go right straight to the point.
They do, but I didn't know anything about him. Never heard him on the radio. I never listened to the station. Like, I didn't. I was just doing because God told me to go.
Right.
So I'm going to go, but I'm going to tell the pastor the truth about me, and he's not going to want me around because he's going to think I'm crazy.
Right. The near-death experience is what you
I did. I said that in the interview. I'm not even kidding you. Sure. I said that, and I thought he was going to throw me out, and then I said, listen, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I thought, yeah, that's what he preaches on. There is no religion. You know what I mean? We're not religious, we're Christians. So I didn't realize I was actually saying all the right things, thinking he won't have me around.
You know what? I hate to say it, but there are a lot of people that call them so-called Christians, but they're really not Christians based on the Bible.
That's right.
Because John, so it's what it is you need to be born again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's why
accepting Jesus Christ in your life and
that's
realizing that's salvation.
That's right, and it's funny too because all my life I got people coming to me, and I just when I look back, I think it's the way they were living is why I didn't want to go and kind of see what a Christian church was like all about and whatever and stuff, and so that was God's plan. Was He said, I sent you people, and you didn't. It didn't take. You didn't go. So I think I'm going to have to do this differently. I'm going to send you to the station, letting you think you're going there for one thing. But the real thing you're going there for is you have to meet this pastor, and you have to get to know this pastor as a person first, not as a pastor.
Right.
And then, from there, you'll wind up going to his church. And again, I told God, I said, I'm going to go to his church. No. Listen, I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Let's just calm down. Guess what? One day I go to him and I said, hey, can anybody go to your church? Like, can anybody go? Is it a membership? I didn't know.
If you can wrap this up in 30 seconds of what we're talking about here. So you got very involved with Pastor Richard Anderson. Now you are what do you do?
Yeah. So now help him with, stuff at the radio station, his PR, getting the word out, because that was another thing is, how, in other words, what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's to help to get the word out through media. So that's one way. And, helping out through the church. There's a lot of people I brought,
Right. And Pastor Rich, with the Supreme Court approving gay marriages, he must have just went off on that one.
Oh, he's been talking about it on the show, I think, since the last week and stuff like that. So he, you tune in, you definitely get to hear what he says.
And the judgment of America, right?
Yeah.
Because of it. And if you could just, tell us what Fame Hampton, basically you got a minute to be able to share that?
Sure. Yeah, Fame Hampton I started based on taking people in the limelight, celebrities and, well, not celebrities, just people well known, celebrities, whoever, and using their celebrityism, we'll call it, to promote anything that's good or positive, whether it be a cause or whatever. And that's how that basically started. And now I'm going to be launching a show called Fame Meets Faith, where it's going to go deeper into their faith and how it's used every day in their, their everyday life and career. Yeah,
because we know that a lot of people kind of in that world have kind of given their souls to the devil, to come up with that, to be so famous.
But you could be in Hollywood,
right?
And
if
you
do
still,
it right,
and you can still be a Christian. I mean, I will look at Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
Look at Roma Downey, Mark Burnett.
Right. So you're actually right now trying to get in contact with Mark.
I'm trying to get a hold of Mark Wahlberg.
So if he hears this, right,
yes.
you would love to say contact.
That's right.
Contact
well,
me.
I will be seeing Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I'm told that.
Okay,
God
good.
wants to see how creative I can get to get a hold of him.
Good. Okay. So, but how would they contact you?
They can contact me either by going to my website, famehampton.com.
That's F-A-M-E.
F-A-M-E, Hampton.com. Mm-hmm. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, @FameHampton. Also, my email, Annemarie, that's ANNEMARIE, @famehampton.com.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, that's great. That's great. And I'm looking forward to doing some projects with you down the road.
You know it.
And this has been a godly connection.
That's right. Nothing is coincidence.
That's right. Right. So I thank you so much for inviting me to an event the last time. So I'm looking forward.
You're welcome.
To
There's more to come.
Good. Great.
Yes.
Great. But yeah. So I just want to thank you. And if you could say really fast, what would you tell people in the fact that why they need Jesus Christ in their life?
Because the only way to get to heaven is through Jesus Christ.
Because we're sinners, and we need.
Yeah, but I mean,
sins.
you can't be a good person and think you're going to get to heaven. The only way is through Jesus Christ. You can't even go through the Father to get to heaven. You have to go through Jesus Christ. It's in the Bible.
Right, but the fact that we have to admit that we're sinners, and that's why we need Jesus
Christ. Oh, absolutely, and
accept
Him as your Savior.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoyed this conversation.
Yes.
I think near-death experience. Interviews I really appreciate.
Oh, no problem.
It shows people that, wow, there really isn't.
There's a God, and as much as there's a God, there's a devil, so you better decide which side you're going to get on.
Exactly.
Because eternity is a long time.
Because, I mean, I have listened to interviews that are where people have gone to hell, and you do not want to be going there.
No, you don't.
Not at all.
No.
But I want to thank you so much for joining us today. So if you could be able to like my Facebook Inspired Blessings page so that you can get the updated, interviews and so on and all the different things that are going on with Inspired Blessings. And keep Inspired Blessings within arm's reach to help give you comfort when others are at a loss for words. Thank you and God bless. www.jeanmarieprince.com. To accept and receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, please say this prayer. I know that I am a sinner who needs forgiveness. Jesus, please forgive me for all my sins and purify me. I know that you died and rose again to pay for my sins. I need you to be my Lord and Savior for the rest of my life. Thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible.